In the quiet city of McAllen, Texas, where the Rio Grande draws a thin, fragile line between two nations, people believed danger came from smugglers, from gangs, from the endless traffic of desperate travelers moving through the desert night. But no one ever imagined the true predator lived among them. Her name was Alynna de Vera. She was 29 years old, beautiful, soft-spoken, and one of the most respected nurses at regional hospital near the Rio Grande border. Patients loved her. Doctors trusted her. Her co-workers often joked she was the kindest nurse in the entire unit. But there was something no one knew, something ancient, something that had crossed the ocean with her, something that had waited over a century to find her. Long before McAllen ever knew her name, Alynna had grown up in a quiet province in the Philippines, Capiz, a place famous for its seafood and infamous for something else. In Filipino folklore, Capiz is whispered about as the capital of the Aswang. The Aswang, a creature feared for generations, a shape-shifting predator that walks among humans during the day and hunts them at night. Stories say they can look exactly like normal people. Neighbors, friends, family, until darkness comes, then they change. Their teeth sharpen, their hunger awakens, and they search for prey beneath the moon. Most people dismissed these stories as superstition, but Alynna had grown up hearing them all her life, because her family name was tied to those stories. For generations, villagers whispered about the De Vera bloodline. Children avoided her at school. Parents warned their kids not to play near her house. Some believed her ancestors were true Aswang. Others believed they were only victims of rumors. Alynna never knew which was worse, so she did what many young Filipinos dreamed of doing. She left. Alynna studied nursing with a quiet determination. She worked harder than anyone else in her class. When the opportunity came to work in the United States, she grabbed it without hesitation. America meant distance. America meant freedom. America meant the rumors could finally die. At 24 years old, she boarded a plane and left Capiz behind. She never looked back. For 5 years, Alynna built a new life in McAllen. Her co-workers saw her as disciplined and independent. She rarely went to parties. She never dated. She focused only on work. Eventually, she earned something she had never imagined as a child: U.S. citizenship. She had escaped the shadow of her family's past. Or so she believed. The phone rang at 2:13 in the morning. Alynna was finishing a night shift when she saw the international number. Her stomach tightened. It was her mother. She almost didn't answer. But something inside her knew she had to. The voice on the other end sounded fragile, older, scared. Her great-grandmother was dying, 105 years old, the matriarch of the family, the last living link to generations of whispered legends, and she was asking for Alynna. Specifically, she had waited, refused to die, until Alynna returned home. Alynna tried to refuse, but her family insisted. They pleaded, they cried, and finally, they guilted her into coming home. The De Vera ancestral home sat deep in the countryside, outside Capiz. The wooden structure had stood there for nearly a century. The air smelled of old wood, candle wax, and rain. When Alynna stepped inside, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. A strange pressure, like the house itself was watching her. Her grandmother, now 88, greeted her quietly. So did her mother, but their smiles looked forced, almost nervous. They led her to the back bedroom. Candles flickered beside a narrow bed, and lying there was the oldest woman Alynna had ever seen, her great-grandmother. Her skin looked thin as paper, her breathing slow, but her eyes were open, waiting, watching for Alynna. The old woman raised a trembling hand. "Alynna," she whispered. Her voice sounded dry, like leaves scraping against each other. Alynna knelt beside the bed. She felt an unexpected wave of sadness. Despite everything she had heard growing up, this was still her family. Her blood. She leaned forward to kiss the old woman's cheek, but suddenly, the frail hands grabbed her face, and the old woman forced her lips forward. Their mouths touched. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Alynna felt something move. Inside the old woman's mouth, something alive, something small, something pushing forward. Alynna tried to pull away, but the old woman's grip was impossibly strong. Then it happened. Something slipped past Alynna's lips. Something warm, something fluttering, something that slid down her throat. Alynna screamed. She collapsed to the floor, coughing violently, her stomach twisted. Inside her body, she felt it moving, fluttering, scratching, like a trapped animal trying to escape. "A bird," she gasped. Her grandmother and mother rushed toward her, but instead of panic, their faces looked calm, almost relieved. Alynna clawed at her throat, trying to vomit, but nothing came out. The movement inside her stomach slowly faded. Then everything went dark. She fainted. When Alynna woke up hours later, the room was silent. Her mother sat beside the bed, and her first words were simple. "Your great-grandmother passed away." Alynna's head pounded. Her memory felt hazy. She remembered arriving. She remembered seeing her great-grandmother. But everything else felt like a dream, or a nightmare, something she couldn't quite reach. Her mother stroked her hair gently. "You should rest," she said. But deep inside Alynna's stomach, something stirred, very softly, very patiently, as if it had finally found its home. Alynna returned to Texas, but something inside her had changed. Her co-workers noticed immediately. During lunch breaks, everyone gathered in the hospital cafeteria. But Alynna never ate, not once. She always claimed she had already eaten earlier, or that she wasn't hungry. At first, people teased her. "Girl, how are you getting skinnier every week?" One nurse laughed. "You look amazing. What's your diet?" Another joked. "Maybe she's trying to be sexy for someone." Alynna only smiled politely, but the truth was simple. Food no longer interested her. The smell of normal meals made her feel nauseous, but at night, a different hunger awakened. A deeper hunger, a darker hunger, one that only came alive when the moon rose above the Rio Grande. And soon, people near the border would begin to disappear.